Hey guys, this is Zach Cummings, UFC welterweight, middleweight, and light heavyweight. Check out Hungover Hand Right.
Welcome back to Hungover Hand Right. I'm Jonathan. That's Chad. Today is March 12th, 2024, and we're coming off of a big UFC 299 card. And this is a Tuesday, so that means the rankings are officially updated by God knows who. We're not sure who really votes on it, honestly, but we got some big movers, Chad.
Oh yeah, big guys that jump the queue real fast.
All right, so we're gonna just touch on kind of the things that the movers that based on 299. And then there's a couple weird ones of people moving for like kind of no reason that I'll just mention at the very end. But so we can probably start we'll kind of start from the bottom of the card, or at least as low on the card as that actually had something happen because of it. Kyler Phillips, Pedro Munoz. Kyler Phillips, there was a lot happened because of this fight, Chad. Kyler Phillips went from not ranked to number 12. Pedro Munoz dropped 2 spots from 13 to 15, but also Dominic Cruz went up to number 11, up 1 spot. Mario Batista went up 1 spot to 13, and Jonathan Martinez went down 3 spots to number 14, which some of that makes no sense to me. But obviously, Kyler Phillips deserves a jump up to 12 after beating Pedro Munoz.
Oh yeah, and he put on a show.
Yep. Yeah,
it sucks for my dog Pedro. I love him, man, but he did. I think it's just he's getting older and he can still crack, but I think it's just the speed advantage is not there, and plus he's already got T-Rex arms, and when you can't get in there and you're just getting picked apart from the outside, it gets tough.
Yeah. I mean, really, and honestly, Kyler, Munoz has fought bantamweights that have a good pace, but Kyler's pace was different.
Yeah, no, he that was the best Kyler we've ever seen. That was Kyler on fire that was feeling himself.
Yeah. So like I said, Cruz from 12 to 11, Batista from 14 to 13, and Martinez from 11 to 14. So, like, make that make sense.
I don't know, man. These rankings sometimes, I mean, we're going to see it a bunch, as we go on, but it doesn't make any sense what they do. What's, the reasoning behind things. Guys don't win at all and they move up, and then guys did win, but they drop. It doesn't make sense. So,
yeah, I mean, I feel for Jonathan Martinez here. Like, I'm sure we could find somewhere who the people that actually vote on these rankings are. It's some sort of journalism, like crew of journalists or something. But I just don't know how you get enough of them to vote Martinez to go down 3 spots after not fighting.
Doesn't make sense.
Well,
I don't know, maybe they do penalize people for not fighting like enough, or like the guys they did fight, or how they fought them. There's probably a multitude of things they throw in there.
Yeah, I mean, I guess to be fair, Martinez wasn't his last win was Yanez, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So I don't know. Yanez, he's not currently ranked. He may have been right at the very bottom of the top 15 when they fought, maybe. But I mean, if they're punishing people for inactivity, Cruz should not be 11.
Yeah. I just threw that out there. I'm not sure. I don't know, but it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah. So Kyler just fought up in the rankings. Obviously, he went from not ranked and beat the number 13. So now, do they move him up again, or does he have to fight down now because he got a big jump this last time? What do you think?
Nah, I think after a performance like that, you move him up, or I'm not saying some rocket style jump, but you move him up, a couple guys ahead of him, test him. He's young, be a guy that you could probably build up to. And then now if he comes out, the guy, you throw him up a little couple spots higher and he comes out and does what he did against Pedro, then you can talk about having a bigger jump or something.
Yeah.
Because what he did to Pedro, I mean, Pedro's face was just, mangled. Pedro's a tough son of a gun, but Kyler put on a show and just pieced him up.
Yeah, I mean the names above him, like I said, Cruz, Umar, Rob Font, Fig, Song Yadong. He's already actually has a win over Song Yadong a long time ago. I guess not a long time ago, a couple years ago maybe, but maybe they jump him that high. Song didn't move. He's 7, but I kind of like Kyler Phillips and Rob Font.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that if you didn't. So I would probably go with that. I don't know if I'd throw someone at Kyler at Song again because 1, he's already beat him, but 2, Song coming off the loss here with Jan, and Song's still young. There's stuff you can do with him. He's going to be around, but I think Kyler, Rob Font's probably what you throw at him. And then if you want, you could do, say, if the Umar and Sandhagen thing doesn't go through, you could maybe do something like that. But I don't know if Umar's gonna. Umar may do it. He likes to fight anybody, I guess, or fight down or whatever.
I just wonder if the UFC would even be on board with that, just because Kyler is kind of another young, dangerous guy.
Yeah, you don't want to kill off too many trains,
Yeah. So Rob Font, I just looked. He's not booked, so I think that makes a ton of sense. You got a young guy that they're kind of trying to build, and you got an older guy that's kind of lost to the guys above him.
Yeah.
So
I agree. I think that would be a fun fight. I think that, the guy Rob Font ain't no one to fuck with. Like, he's a tough bastard himself.
No, and Kyler will go to war a little bit too. Like, he's not. Mm-hmm. It's not always pretty with him, and he's not afraid of that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, your favorite guy, Gamrot.
Oh, man.
There was some movement at the lightweight division because of him. He went up 1 from 6 to 5, and Chandler went down from 5 to 6. So we'll start there because there's some other movers in this division. But what do you think of that?
How I feel about Gamrot. Like, sure, phenomenal wrestler, grappler. But I'm just not a fan of guys that grapple and don't do damage. I get it, like, you're good at holding people, but I get it. I don't know. It's just frustrating, and there's no disrespect to the sport, wrestling and the art of grappling and all that. But I just got to see damage, and I don't think you should just be rewarded points and points and points for just controlling a guy and you're not hurting him. You're essentially just out cardioing him. Like, we got to see some damage. And, I don't know. But the guy who's got suspect, hands and striking, that is just diving, or in this case, this fight, just dropping to his knees because he was so afraid to stand.
Yeah.
And it was very frustrating, but, kudos to him. He got the dub. Chandler's, waiting for Connor. So he's kind of that Dominic Cruz right now, or just waiting.
And he's going to continue to, and he's going to continue to drop if he's not careful. As far as Gamrot, like you kind of mentioned, he really seems like so not confident in his striking that he's not even interested in trying.
Oh yeah, no, he's not even setting up punches or to set up a takedown. Yeah. He's just literally, he was getting pushed up against cage, and then he would just drop to his knees. And it was frustrating that we weren't able to see a knee or something to right this train. But I don't know. I mean, I don't want to talk too much on too much shit on him, I should say, is because that's not my style. You know, I like guys who do damage. I love the grappling side of it, you know, but I love to see damage. The guys that with the ground and pound. And he does not have ground and pound. It's just ground and hold. It just sit there. So I like to see damage when you're taking people down.
Yeah, and last thing I'll say about Gamrot is that he was fighting RDA, which is not the type of guy that RDA is a decent striker. Like, he's not a bad striker, but imagine if the Fiziev fight would have lasted longer.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's why I think Fiziev beats him.
Yeah,
Fiziev doesn't blow his knee out. I think Fiziev wins that fight, but and I'd pick him, and I honestly I'd pick it. I'd keep losing money and keep picking against Gamrot.
I can't remember who I actually picked in that, but after this fight, if they were to do it again, I know who I'm picking the second time.
Yeah.
So we got some other movement at lightweight, but we'll get to that with the Dustin Benoit fight. But kind of a big one here, Macy Barber. Obviously, she was ranked 6, fighting the number 4, Caitlin Sermonara Chukagian. Yeah. They switched. Macy went to 4, Chukagian Sermonara went to 6. But in bigger news, kinda, Macy went into 15 in the pound for pound rankings. She wasn't in the pound for pound, and now she's 15.
Okay.
So, and just for some context, 14's Aldana, 13's Vieira, 12's Lemos, 11's Andrade. So, I mean, I'm sure she doesn't really care to be number 15 at pound for pound, but it is kind of like a big talking point sometimes for the commentary and whatnot. But
yeah, no, she's on the way up. She did her thing. I mean, in my opinion, dominating performance. So, she looked good. She looked strong. Cardio was there. I mean, her grappling was great. Like,
I think she's more technical than that on the feet. Like, I feel like there's a little more of a technical striker in there, which that might have been part of the game plan against Chukagian, who likes to stay on the outside and touch you, is just to shove your forehead into her chest and just bomb over the top and shoot takedowns. But I definitely would like to see her look a little cleaner next time on the feet, at least. But
yeah, I think it was the game plan. They were like, we're going to bum rush this chick, get in her face, and you're going to throw bombs, and then you're going to take her down. Like, you're going to grapple her. This is what we're going to do.
Yeah, she's definitely a bully. And, it's kind of, and when we picked our champ at the end of the year for each weight class, we kind of already mentioned this, but it's a little jammed up there at flyweight. Literally, 3's Firo, 2's Blanchfield. They're fighting each other coming up. And then Shevchenko, Grasso are coaching tough and then fighting each other.
Yeah, so it sucks, but kind of ruins my whole little pick of Macy being champ by the end of the year. But
Ultimate Fighter ruins shit again for you.
Yep, really fucked up my whole thing. But she's going to be champ. In my heart of hearts, she's going to be champ.
Yeah, I mean, she's 25. I thought she was. I mean, I knew she was young, but I thought she was older than 25.
Yeah, no, she's a beast, and I'm a huge fan.
Yeah. I mean, her and Alexa, they fought back in 2021, and she lost a decision. But based off that, the fight this past weekend, the physicality difference. And like I said, Macy just being a bully, like that might be a big factor in that one, because Alexa's not.
I think so too.
Alexa's not the most physical chick.
She's crisp. She's crisp on her feet, and she's got good ground game. But so does Macy's strong, got a good ground game, and she can crack. Like girl can crack.
Yeah. Yep. So let's move on to Curtis Blades, Jonathon Almeida. Really, I mean, kind of out of
this one was
pulled one out of the depths of hell to win for Blades.
Yeah, this one to me just it blows my mind that a guy in the UFC is just does not believe in any of his striking whatsoever, that he's going to shoot from 5,000 miles away and try to take down another, college wrestler, and then proceed to get hit by 10 straight heavy hammer fists and not move his head, not move, not switch a position, not back off, do something, but proceeded to let him hit him 10 more times until he fell over on the ground. That was just wild to me. To me, it just seems like, how does that happen? How do you I heard some people saying that this Almeida's just never going to be champ because of that, because of he can't strike. And yeah, I'm starting to believe him. I thought this guy was skyrocketing himself to be up there, the upper echelon, and beating those guys. But after this performance, it put a halt to that for me. It said this guy cannot strike and is so afraid of striking, he is willing to risk and commit to a takedown to the point of, I'm going to get knocked out. I'm just going to wear punches. And you can't do that at heavyweight. Those guys hit too damn hard. And to me, it was mind-blowing. I laughed. I couldn't believe it. I was just like, what are you doing?
Yeah, I mean, I guess not really the counterpoint, but the thing for me is that, he doesn't want to strike with these guys, but the thing is that he was taking Blades down somewhat easily. And
he had success.
Yeah.
But the thing is, when the first couple times he's taking him down, sure. But guess what? Blades, the first one he stuffed, what happens? He starts hammering down fist. The other ones he got lucky with, or he got a little bit closer when he shot. He wasn't setting up anything. But once Blades got in his brain, like, okay, this guy is just shooting from no man's land, he's already on alert. So he's already a good wrestler, good grappler. He figured it out, and he finally stuffed it, and then proceeded to hammer fist his head into oblivion.
Yeah.
And it was just frustrating to me. It just seemed like it didn't make any sense that you're at that level and you can't set something up, or what are you doing in training camp?
Yeah, and again, kind of like I mentioned earlier, not a Derek Lewis, he already fought Derek, but I'm saying not Cyril Gahn, not a guy that you really, and Blades is a good striker, he's a decent striker, but not like one of the guys that you're scared of on the feet. Pavlovich, so it's like Almeida should be at least be able to hang in there a little bit with Blades on the feet enough to
you would think.
Set up what he wants.
Honestly, I was thinking back, it was kind of a red flag when he couldn't sub Derek Lewis.
Yeah.
I mean, Derek Lewis, he ain't no purple belt or anything like that. He's just a big, strong dude. But that should have been the red flag. Okay, this guy can't. Most of your top echelon guys that are good grapplers on the ground that don't get knocked out that are successfully taking Derek Lewis down, say DC, they're subbing him. They're putting him to sleep, or they're subbing him.
Even Spivak.
Oh yeah, I don't know. It was kind of mind-boggling how it was all going down, because that's obviously not how you expected it. You expected it to go, but Blades can crack. If he gets a hold of you, he can knock you out real fast. But what he's known for is his wrestling, his grappling, his ground and pound. That's what he's known for.
I was pretty surprised to see Almeida actually take him down.
Oh yeah, the first several attempts that he did, I was, this is easy.
I thought Blades was gonna stuff him and box him up.
Yeah,
and it didn't really go like that.
No, he got taken down, but then finally caught on to, okay, you're not going to strike with me at all. I'll focus all to stop the takedown, and all right, then I'll just hammer fist you and you won't move and I'll win.
Yeah. Yeah. Pretty crazy. I mean, obviously heavyweight's kind of known for unpredictability, but it doesn't usually go quite like that. It's usually like on the feet. But yeah, like I said, no movement for them because it was Blades at 5, Almeida 7. They didn't move either of them. The only movement, which I don't understand why, is Derek Lewis went down 1 spot to 12. Why? Anyways, main card, Jan, Song Yadong. Jan back on track finally.
It was a good fight. And I mean, credit to Jan for coming back, especially after that first round. After that first round, you didn't think it was going to go well at all. You thought Song was going to take over that fight. And Jan just buckled down and started, actually kind of, I mean, he was piecing up Song on the feet, stuffing takedowns. I mean, having trips for himself. I mean, he was doing his thing. And, I bet for Song, and man, that would have been tough if he lost 4 in a row. So this was do or die for Jan.
Yeah, I was like, I think I told Dylan or somebody like he's gonna lose another split right here. Like, but watching that third round, I'm like they're gonna fuck Jan again.
Yeah, but I thought it was definitely a close fight, but I think they got it right. I mean,
the surprising thing was that Song took Jan down and Jan outstruck Song. I think Jan outstriking Song Yadong isn't gonna be crazy shocking, but the fact that Song took him down to me was pretty surprising because I thought Jan would have a wrestling advantage in this fight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I think Song was the stronger guy, but Jan probably had better cardio. And that ultimately, I think that's what happened. And Jan, they're both tough as nails. I mean, but Jan just started piecing them up, just picking them apart and doing his thing. And then I think Song got a little bit too readable with his, predictable with his takedowns.
Yeah, I think Jan just turned the veteran on a little bit and just like kind of out veteraned him, I guess. I don't know what the word I'm trying to think of is, but just kind of used his experience, I guess, is the best way to put it.
Yeah, out savvied him. He did his thing. I mean, Song's young. He's going to be around a while. And Jan, he's not that old, but, he's up there a little bit. But he's doing his thing, and honestly, it was do or die. So, I mean, he had to get out there and do it. Yeah. And he did it. Kudos to him.
Yeah, so no movement in the rankings for either of them. Jan stays at 4, which is, again, it's crazy that he was still number 4. But Song stays at 7. Jan, kind of a tough spot, too, because he's got Sandhagen at 3, who's probably fighting Umar. And he's got Aljo at 2, who he's lost to, I guess technically twice.
Yeah.
And then it's Marab, who he's lost to, and then Sean, who he's lost to.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's not, I don't know. Either we may see a long layoff for him again, or not a little while.
You're taking some fights below you, buddy.
Or like Cheeto, maybe. Cheeto's 1 spot below him right now.
Yeah, we can fight Cheeto. See how that goes. But he already commented and said that the UFC's, giving him bullshit and stuff like that. And
Jan did, or Cheeto?
Okay, maybe they did kind of maybe fuck you a little bit, but you also broke the fucking rule and lost your championship by kneeing someone in the fucking head while they're on the ground.
Right.
It sucks, but it happened, and you did it. And, now they're moving on, and now they have a superstar of that division, a guy that you lost to, that you don't think you lost to, but you did. And, close fight, but I don't think they got it wrong.
No.
And Sean's on it right now. Sean is on another level. What he did with Cheeto and that was insane.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Jan's going to have to fight somebody like a Cheeto or something here after. And I don't think that'd be a good fight. I think it'd be a fun fight to watch.
Yeah, I mean,
but,
Cheeto Cheeto's going to need some time for sure. Henry at 6. Is Henry still fighting? I don't even know.
I think Henry hung it up after losing to Marab.
Yeah. I'm kind of interested. Fig's number 8, and he's fighting Cody, correct?
Yes.
Who's
On
unranked. And so, beating Cody unranked doesn't really do much for you, but I would like to see I'd like for him to try to set up Jan and Fig.
Yeah, you can do that. That'd be a fun one too. Jump him up the queue, or former champion, he's ranked higher in a lower weight class, but still do it.
You might, I think him being a former champ, and if he gets Cody out of there like quick and impressive fashion, you may be able to convince Jan to sign on to that. Maybe. I don't know. It's hard to say.
Yeah, he's I don't know, man. He's kind of becoming the wine bag of that division for me. It's kind of rubbing me wrong.
I mean, one win, unfortunately, does not get him a ton of leverage right now.
Yeah.
One win below him, 3 spots below him in the rankings. So, but let's move on to Gilbert Burns, Jack Della. I picked Burns. I think he could have been on his way to winning.
Oh yeah, honestly, he probably was.
Yeah.
I mean, he was taking him down like just what we thought about, but there was always that chance that Jack could do some damage and knock him out. Now, I don't think we would have called it by knee.
No, definitely not.
That one, Jack just put on a show. I mean, Jack did do well with his scrambling, trying to fight off of course, he was getting taken down. Like, that's just not that guy. But he was doing well fighting it off. He wasn't really in incredible danger of, like, being subbed or anything like that. His defense was really good when it came to that. And then he just, did what strikers do and find a way to find your chin, and did it.
I think like, considering, everyone was a little worried, or at least I was, about the Basil Hafez fight. Mm-hmm. I think this fight really kind of makes me forget about that.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Like, that was just kind of fluky.
Yeah, I think that could have been an off night for Jack, something like that, or he went into it thinking, fuck, they got me. This guy's, debut, something like that. Because the way he performed well, and that was a fun fight to watch. And Gilbert was doing the damn thing. Gilbert's no slouch.
No.
Gilbert can crack, and Gilbert's a good wrestler, and obviously, a crazy black belt at jiu-jitsu. So,
well,
and Gilbert, like you said, I think he was on the way to winning that fight.
Yeah. And
then Jack caught him. And that's what strikers do, man.
Jack, he's got such a weird striking style. Like I'm not going to go on too much of a tangent here because we got to move on. But like MVP or like Sean, these guys are like good strikers mainly because they're really fast and they hit you before you're like, when you're not expecting it, basically. Jack, everything's kind of at like a little slower pace, but like technically really crisp and clean. And he's just kind of just good with his timing. It's not speed related necessarily. It's like just timing. He just knows when to put the punch up there.
Yeah, he kind of gives me like old school vibes, like old school boxer vibes of just, I don't need to be, crazy, flashy. I'm just going to be pinpoint accurate, and I'm going to hit you hard. And his timing, like you said, is been pretty immaculate. And he knows different angles to cut, movement. And he's not like bouncing around or anything. It's just old school vibe to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I like it.
Yeah.
And his broken ass nose.
Yes. Yeah. So let's talk about MVP and Holland before we talk about the rankings, because welterweight's got a lot going on, and both of these fights kind of have to do with it. There's a lot of movement because of both of these. So let's kind of go through this one a little quicker because there wasn't as much to talk about. I mean, MVP kind of did what he does, but all these guys, and I'm not gonna say all, but most of these guys in Bellator he's fought are like a foot shorter than him, and so it makes sense that they're gonna have a hard time getting close enough to him to do anything. But Holland's obviously not a foot shorter than him, and had just as much trouble even getting close enough to hit him.
Oh yeah, no, I mean MVP put on a clinic. Honestly,
Yeah.
I mean Holland was battered, got to the point where he started getting frustrated and like yelling at MVP and telling him, "Oh, engage," and he made mocking his style and all this stuff. And I'm like, dude, he's piecing you the fuck up. Like, how can you get mad? I mean, I get that you're pissed off because you haven't been able to touch him once this entire fight. You gotta take him down, or you took him down, that one time, and you had him, close with a rear naked and all that. But it was the only time that he really was like, even like up against the fence. MVP was able to turn Holland, get off of him. Like he just overpowered him, struck him. Speed was crazy, even at his age. I picked Holland. I thought Holland was going to get the job done, mainly because of he's a good striker. He's good on the ground, and he's long. I didn't think he was going to struggle as much with MVP's style of doing his thing. But hey, kudos to MVP. That guy. I mean, put on a show, and it was fun to watch. I mean, crafty. The elbows, those were gnarly. I mean, he was doing what he wanted, and he was showboating. He's put on a show, and it was fun.
Yeah, I think obviously will he be able to hang with the welterweight wrestlers? That's obviously a big question, and it still somewhat is. But also the age thing. It's been a year since he's fought. And that style is so athletic, like dependent on athleticism that it's like 36, like any minute that could be gone. It wasn't gone
For sure. And he already stated he don't want to fight Wonder Boy. So they're friends. He doesn't want to do that. He thinks it'll be a boring fight because there's similar styles, because they know the ins and outs of each other's styles. So I think of course, our imaginations, we want it to be like, yeah, like this would be a badass fight, but he kind of makes a point. It is definitely going to come into a factor his age and, the elite wrestlers at the top of that division. So
I kind of wonder if him not wanting to fight Wonder Boy has to do with his age. Like he's like, because Wonder Boy in the rankings is 9 and he's 13. So you'd think, in most scenarios, he'd be like, yeah, let me fight the number 9 guy. Like I fight above what I am now. But
yeah,
he's like, I'm 36. I need to like make this happen now. I got some leverage to kind of like call my shot. So he's probably shooting for the stars right now. He's looking for the top. Yeah. So, like I said, there's a lot going on here at welterweight. I mean, we'll go kind of top. Well, let's start with Jack. Jack's up 6 spots. I mean, he went from 11 to 5, which is a pretty massive jump. Burns down 2 spots from 4 to 6. And Colby's kind of the big winner here because he went up a spot because Jack beat Gilbert. He's up from 5 to 4 now. And then, Ian Gary went down from 6 to 7, went down 1. Sean Brady went down 1, 7 to 8. Wonder Boy from 8 to 9. Jeff Neal from 9 to 10. Luque from 10 to 11. MVP, not ranked, obviously, to 13. And then Holland down to 14. Chiesa down to 15. So, obviously, if Jack's going to move up 6 spots, that means 6 guys are going to move down. So, some of these random ones like Sean Brady, Jeff Neal, Luque, that kind of makes sense. But, I mean, beating the number 4 guy from 11, I don't know. I guess it does make sense he'd go to 5, but that's 6 spot jump is
that's
big.
A massive jump with guys who, I mean, that's, I think, a bigger task. He completed the bigger task than the other guys did that were higher. They lost to those other guys up top, other than Ian Gary. Yeah. So I think, I don't know. It kind of seems like I'm kind of not mad at it.
No,
I mean, it is a big jump, but then you look at Ian Gary had to drop. He dropped down. What do you do next with Ian Gary or Sean Brady?
Yeah,
got Colby sitting there. You're going to have to throw Bilal's probably fighting. Has to. I mean, you'd think he'd be fighting for the title next.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, he should, but
yeah, I mean, he probably should be. As much as people don't like him, but he probably deserves to get the title shot. And
yeah.
then Colby, there's no way they can keep him at 4 and let him sit out for 2 more years. Like
They might give him to Jack or Ian Gary.
yeah, he's got to take he's got to fight one of those two.
Yeah.
Or fight Sean Brady, somebody.
Brady, yeah, he's got to. I mean, more than likely he's got to fight down. He's not going to want to do that, but you got Brady, Jack Della, Ian Gary, these young guys coming up. Like the only person like above him that he could fight is Shavkat, who's at 3, but I don't know if I'm seeing Shavkat wanting to fight Colby. Like, it's like, why?
Yeah. I know. Jack called out Shavkat at the fight, so after he beat Gilbert, so
goes from 11 to 5, and then now potentially fighting number 3. Like, just 2 fights back to back. Like, if he beats him, it's
if he beats him, he's going to the title. He's the next title shot.
Yeah, I'd like to see it. I mean, I don't know. I'm Shavkat's kind of a mystery to me a little bit. Like, he's had some fights where he's like dominant wrestler, and then he's had some weird ones like Jeff Neal, where he's trying to strike. Like, I think he's pretty good at everything, but I'm a little worried about up here with him. But yeah, I mean, I would love to see it.
I know that division will be fun once they start bringing all these guys up. They start fighting, and it starts getting a little bit more into the mix, and they start fighting each other.
Yeah,
because that's I mean, they're getting to that point where they're like, all right, you guys are all at the top now. We can't really bounce you up 6 spots anymore. You're gonna have to start fighting each other.
Yeah,
and then you got Kamaru in there. Is he there or did he go up to middleweight? Like, who knows? He might come down and say, "Fuck it, I'm going back to try and win my belt, and I'm gonna say he comes back and beat Shavkat or some shit, or Or
he's still number 1.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Bilal's too.
Yeah. It's weird.
This division, I mean, it still kind of is, but I feel like, like a year or 2 ago, this was like the kind of like lightweight has been just the division of this, like all the same guys all the time. But now, fast forward to today, Shavkat, Jack Della, Ian Gary, Sean Brady, MVP, like there's some different names in here that
new blood coming up.
Yeah. So yeah, welterweight, definitely a lot of moving I mean, in the last week. So all right. Dustin Benoit Saint Denis. Obviously really important fight for Dustin, and probably more important for him than Benoit. I know Benoit was getting the big opportunity, but I think if Dustin loses to him, that might be like nail in the coffin. So Dustin's not gonna. He didn't move in the rankings, obviously, but I do kind of see the UFC or picture the UFC wanting to kind of do him a solid because he took the fight. So I don't know. Gaethje, they shouldn't fuck Gaethje by giving Dustin the next shot.
Yeah.
Or they'd be fucking Charles too. So
it'd be fucking a lot of people, especially after Gaethje just knocked Dustin out. Like that would suck. But Dustin did his damn thing. Dustin did what Dustin does, and that's what he cracks. And Benoit honestly was dominating the grappling. Like Dustin didn't have, and the pace he was putting on was crazy. Dustin could do nothing with the grappling except for pull guillotine, which some of them were fucking, tight. You had them, but
Benoit, Dustin was getting up.
Oh, he's getting up. I mean, hey, I'm not saying this is not as disrespect or anything like that, but if you ask who won the first round, it was Benoit Saint Denis.
I'm just saying it wasn't like dominant top pressure the whole round or anything. Like
no, he was dominant, like as in like Dustin couldn't stop him from taking him down. Like he was pushing him against the cage. He's strong. He was stronger than Dustin. He was taking Dustin down. But that pace he put on, you could tell as soon as like the end of that first round, Benoit Saint Denis, and I even said it to who was sitting right next to me. It was, I think might have been our buddy JP, was sitting there, and I said, dude, this guy's tired. Like, Dustin was even huffing and puffing, but something looked on St. Denis looked like it was weird. And then the second round came along, and, you know, he went to try and push the pace and keep going, and then decided, hey, I'm going to come at you with my hands low because, you know, you're Dustin Poirier and you don't know how to punch. So just it doesn't make any sense to me. And Dustin did what he does, and he's going to find your chin. That right hook of his is, you know, next level.
Yeah.
It's one of the hardest punches in the game, you know. And he's too crisp, especially when his back's off the cage or he just turned, you know, off the cage. He's quick with it. He bites down on his mouthpiece, and he's willing to wear one for you to take one. So it was awesome watching him do it. You know, he knocked it, and I love Saint Denis. He's not going anywhere. You know, Dustin's here. I'm glad it was. I mean, especially all the love you've been seeing, like fighters give him and all that stuff. Like, I love it. I love seeing it. It's awesome. He's a legend. And I thought people must have forgot. You know, like I said in a couple videos we put out a couple days ago or weeks ago, talking about people. It's all about the "what have you done for me lately" kind of thing, and people were forgetting about it because the last time they saw Dustin Poirier was when he got head kicked by Justin Gaethje, and it makes you forget that, hey, Dustin's a diamond fucking Poirier, and he gets shit done. And I wasn't one of them. I picked Saint Denis because I like Saint Denis, and I know he's a young dog and he's coming up. And you know, you make bets, sometimes you lose. That was nothing like a disrespect for Dustin, because Dustin's a guy that's, you know, he's a legend, like I said, and that was great watching him get that respect and that he's deserved.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, I do think that the staff and the antibiotics was a factor because
and Saint Denis did come out and say some stuff like, he's like, I couldn't say no to the opportunity. I couldn't back out. I only had the one round, and it kind of backs up why he pushed that kind of pace in the first.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Not a whole lot of people get Dustin out in the first fucking round, you know?
Yeah.
So,
yeah. And I kind of, obviously, fatigue started to set in for him, which probably completely healthy, which none of these guys, I guess, are completely healthy going in there, but completely healthy, the fatigue probably wouldn't have set in the way it did. And then obviously when you're that tired and you eat a punch like that, it's not going to go good. So,
oh no.
But like I said, not the end of the world for Benoit. Like, I am worried about durability for him. I mean, literally watch his UFC debut, and like you almost see a guy die in there, and that guy being him. So I do worry about the durability, like long term. But you know, fighting up that many spots, not the end of the world to lose to Dustin. I mean,
I think you know, it's like he said, it was an opportunity. I mean, you can't just pull out of a fight, you know, because that makes you look bad to the UFC, you know, and you don't want to get rid of that opportunity. I think he'll be back. I think the longevity thing, you know, definitely people in his camp need to be like, hey, maybe we need to not turn into Mr. Slugfest, you know, rock'em sock'em robot. Let's get a little bit more technical with our striking, and
especially when you have a grappling game like that. Like, he almost doesn't need to do that all the time.
Yeah. I would, but I think it's just probably a pride thing, you know, the way he is, kind of dude he is. I mean, he's the God of War. You know, he can't be called God of War and not want to bang, you know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, really the best news for him since Saturday is that he actually, Benoit being the guy I'm talking about here, is up one spot in the rankings because RDA lost and went down a spot. So Benoit loses a fight and goes up one spot in the rankings. Aside from that, at lightweight, again, no real reason here, but Dan Hooker and Jalen Turner just switched spots. Dan up to 9, Jalen up to 10. Obviously, Dan beat Jalen, but that was like 6 months ago or more, probably more than that.
Yeah.
So like, why are they switching right now? Like, but is what it is. All right, let's get this going here. Main event, Chad. Yeah, you're an O'Malley guy, so
yeah. When I say, like I said a little bit earlier, O'Malley's on another level. The kid's a sniper. He's almost pretty genius with his striking, honestly, the way he sets things up. His feints are insane, and that's what he relies on is his feints, setting up the next strike. He's literally thinking 5 moves ahead before everybody else is thinking. Okay, he's just testing you out. Okay, you feinted to this. But what if you feint to this with a punch behind it? Okay, you duck that way, I'll send a knee right up the fucking middle, doing that same feint with a punch, and you're going to eat it. And if it wasn't Cheeto Vera's chin, that probably would have knocked out anybody in that division.
Yeah. Yeah, and Cheeto, I mean, I feel like this is a story as old as time, but him never getting going, it bit him in the ass again. I mean, this guy cannot, I mean, obviously Sean has a lot to do with that, but he just could never get past first gear, it didn't seem like.
Yeah. Cheeto, I mean, just seemed shelled up just the whole time, and Sean was peppering him, bouncing around, moving. Cheeto did get a little bit more success towards, like that 5th round. And he ended up catching Sean at the end of the fight with a knee, at the end, at the bell. But I think that Sean just got a little carried away. Sean was wanting to finish him. He's wanting to do some things and, left himself open, probably wouldn't have done that if it was earlier in the fight or something. So, I mean, you can tell Cheeto's face, I mean, it was just bludgeoned. Like,
yeah.
And Cheeto's a dog. Cheeto's tough as shit. Like I said, he would have been anybody. I think anybody else in that division is probably knocked out with that knee, or at least dropped. Sean did kind of stun drop him. I think it was in the 2nd round, and it was like with a right hand. Cheeto was coming in with a left, and it might have been like a stun slip kind of thing, But I mean, Sean was it's Sean's time, his moment right now. He's on another level. He's feeling it. He's feeling himself. And, honestly, it was fun to watch, just watching. He's a master, dude. His striking, he's so damn fast. And it's crazy how he can just land something straight up the middle, and it'll be on you before. I mean, these guys react. The reaction time's so crazy. Cheeto didn't react until like after he was hit. It didn't make sense how fast Sean was.
There's so much deception involved in Sean's game. It's like I don't even understand all of it, but it's just it's just the feints and the switching and the angles. It's a lot of angles with him, man. Like he's never where you want him to be. And again, he sets these traps and he tricks you into throwing what he wants you to throw. And I think, as if we didn't already know this, I think this proves to at least all these bantamweights, even like Corey, like if Corey fights him, I feel like this has to show you, like, it doesn't really matter how good you think you are at striking. This is not the way you're going to beat Sean. You're not going to stand there at range like Cheeto thought he could and beat him. And I love Corey and I love his striking, but even a guy like Corey, I'm just not so sure that he's not going to get his ass kicked on the feet.
Yeah, and Sean's just so good at staying on the outside and knowing when to attack and bounce back and cut a certain angle. Like you said, set traps. I love Corey too, but it's going to be a lot different. I think, like you said, it's got to put everybody else on notice. They're like, hey, we got to come with our fucking A game against this guy. And we might have to think of a different game plan, but besides, standing in front of him striking.
I want to see Merab, and I think there's no way really that you can deny Merab anymore because Sean, he's almost looked too good to like not give Merab him. I think this fight with Cheeto was kind of the UFC saying, let's get him a title defense against a guy that stylistically is a good matchup for him, but he just completely dominated, and it's like he can't really, not that he's hiding, but there's nowhere to hide anymore. And I think, although I probably like gun to my head would be picking Merab, like this fight kind of showed that it's not just going to be Merab domination. Probably like it's going to be really interesting stylistic matchup, and Sean, he could catch him.
Oh yeah. I mean, look at the Cejudo fight. Cejudo dropped Merab.
Yeah.
Who's to say Sean, who's 10 times the better striker, won't find his chin?
And also, I think Sean's, although not a ton of wrestling in this fight or really any, I think we can kind of check the cardio box at this point, because early in his career when he's like 18, whatever, he had some issues with the cardio, getting tired. Mm-hmm. I don't think that's really an issue anymore with him.
Yeah. And, obviously Merab's a different animal when it comes to the cardio. The guy just keeps going and going, the little Energizer bunny. But I don't know, man. If I'm going right off the cuff now, Sean O'Malley knocks out Merab.
It's possible.
And that's just, my early prediction. I'll, as we get, closer, if that fight does happen, because the whole talks, Sean maybe want to fight Ilya Taporia and all that stuff. Who knows what happens? But
they can't do that.
Yeah, I mean, because Volk's got to get the rematch, and
Ilya, he just won the belt. Like, I know they love these super fights, but let's just chill out with the super fights, guys.
Yeah,
and also I think Ilya said something about, because him and Taporia or him and Merab are both from, was it Lebanon or what is it? Georgia. They're both from Georgia, and so they're
I thought Ilya was from Spain.
No, he's Georgian. He trains and lives in Spain, but he's Georgian. And
okay.
So I think he tweeted something about to Sean saying, "I'm not gonna step in front of Merab to fight you." Like,
okay.
So,
and I did see something today that Sean said something about fighting Merab in the Sphere, like in June or something like that, or July or something like that.
Is that one International Fight Week at the Sphere?
I think it is.
Okay.
I think he said something about,
man,
Merab sounds like a good fight then.
That's quick.
Yeah, I mean,
for a champ.
Yeah. Maybe he wants to be active, and I don't know. I just right now, off the cusp, Sean knocks out Merab.
I'm gonna not agree at this moment, but I mean, it's a lot closer to me than it was before this fight.
Yeah,
but
and I may change my mind, but probably not.
Yeah, well, we all know who you like more. The last thing here, I mean, the only other movement on the rankings, because nothing happened with Cheeto or Sean at the bantamweight rankings, but Sean is up 2 spots on the pound for pound from 8 to 6. Charles drops down 1 to 7, and Volk drops 1 to 8 because of the O'Malley win. So now he's 6. Taporia's 5. At the UFC, they're like, their mouths are watering a little bit at that. Probably they're like, ooh, 4 and 5 pound for pound, don't like each other. But
exactly.
Other than that, no. I mean, that's it for the rankings.
It's wild, dude. Sometimes it don't make any fucking sense what what credits somebody to move up and down, even though they lost. And
they want us to talk about it is why they do it.
I think it is. More content. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I mean, the last thing I'll say about the rankings, this has nothing to do with any of it, but I was looking through this earlier. flyweight, Sumaderji up 1 spot, Dvorak down 1 spot after this weekend.
Yeah.
None of them fought.
Yeah.
So
it just they're like, move over. This guy's better now. So
I like Sumaderji better. We're putting him up a spot.
I like Sumaderji too.
I mean, I would have put him up a spot too. But any last thoughts, Chad?
Nah, man, that was a fun night. I mean, a hell of a card. That was a fun card. I mean, from top to bottom, really. It was a fun card. 300's gonna be fun too. It's gonna be hard to top 299, but I mean,
not only name value on 299 was really good, but it delivered. So
yeah, all the fights were great. I mean, prelims. I mean, they were fun. This was a good night. You know, I know we had a nice little watch party and hung out with the guys and drank some brews and had a good time. And I mean, it's even better when good fights are happening. So I love it. These fights were a blast, man. This was a good card. And it was
this kind of got me excited about. I mean, not that I don't get excited about all the fights, but you know, when you watch Jairzinho Rozenstruik and Shamil Ghazi, you're kind of like, okay, well, let's move on to the bigger shit. But this kind of felt like the old days for me, like before we were talking about the sport on a podcast, where I was like
back in the day
kidding about it.
Exactly. You know, it makes you think, we're buying the pay-per-view back in the day. Click on, DirecTV or something, and boom, it's on.
Yeah.
And this card was fun. They did a good night. All the fights were awesome. No complaints from me.
Yeah. Well, if you guys, a listener, if you watch this all the way through and you made it this far, thank you, first of all. But if you want us to keep doing this, because like I was telling Chad off here, I don't see a ton of people talking about like the ranking updates like as they happen. So if you guys want some more of this, let us know. And just give us your thoughts on anything we talked about today. Make sure to like and subscribe. We need some subscribers, so
hit the like.
Do us a favor. At HOR Podcast, Instagram, at Hungover Handwrite, TikTok. Our personal socials will be in the description. Thanks for watching.
Peace.
Later.